afternoon, everyone. In this presentation, we'll be talking about our documentary that we're going to present. It's going to be about drugs and how drugs affects people. Drugs. Drugs is in our news daily. It's on everywhere we go, on the news, on every social network. People are affected by it from different ways. People might have family members that might have been affected by drugs. Everyone has an opinion on drugs. Everyone has some sort of assumption on how drugs, or why people take drugs, such as people take weed for medicine and stuff like that. There's loads of facts as well. Facts can be like the figures of drugs people taking are staggering, getting higher and higher each year. Maybe it's because easy access or anything else. And people know a lot about drugs. People seen it everywhere. People have even used it. So people have some sort of knowledge of drugs. Also, and finally, it will appeal to all ages. People such as youngsters are experimenting drugs with their friends, and people older have stress and maybe be used to drugs. Okay, next slide.
Our interview questions, we have 3 categories for. One for the school children, one for the police, and one for teachers. The reason why we've had to put them into 3 categories is because they will all have a different view on them and should do. We've done a lot of secondary research and the BBC gave us a lot of input. Here's a little screenshot of what they gave us. The number of users, deaths and the street value. And this is just of one drug.
In this interview, we had one person who was talking about experience of drugs. We blurred his face and we changed his voice so the person could be unrecognized.
Actually, sorry, this is my phone. Don't worry.
Please bear with us.
Technician is fault.
No, but I previously used them. Why did you? Because good evening, sir. Do you use drugs? No, but I have previously used them. Why did you use them? Because it was a social thing I could do with my friends, and it just helped me calm down sometimes. What's your views on drugs? It depends really. Like drugs, like marijuana, I don't see as all that bad, but when you get like the hardcore drugs like cocaine and crystal meth, I think that's bad. Do you think the government are doing enough to tackle down drug abuse? Yes, but I think they could be doing more. Does anyone in your family take drugs? Not to my knowledge, no. Thank you for cooperating.
Here we have a young man who's talking about drugs and his experience. He spoke of his dad not taking drugs, or none of his family taking drugs. So maybe that shows that drugs doesn't affect everyone.
However, from this video we noticed that the questions were not good enough. The change in the questions would be the best thing so the person could give more of an answer instead of yes and no.
The cost. As you know, these equipments are not free. We have to pay a total prices of equipment for added up to £546. We paid for the tripod, which added up to £16. So for 2 days, that's £32. We also paid for the microphone kit hire that is used for the Sennheiser, and that added up to £30. We also used a Canon camera, which we believe that is the best quality camera we could use in shooting this documentary, and that went for £200 in the split for 2 days. And lastly, we used an Apple Mac Pro, which went for £200 for 2 days.
Ofcom has a big impact on our documentary. One of the main things is protecting under 18-year-olds. How we're going to do this is the documentary is going to have to be shown after 9 PM due to the drug use in it.
The use of illegal drugs and abuse, and smoke and solvent abuse and misuse of alcohol must not be featured in programs, mainly, particularly primarily, for children unless there is a strong and editorial justification.
Also, we cannot make drugs look like a good thing and make young children use them.
As it could come with complaints from family members, as they might not want their children to be watching this stuff.
Questions?
Yeah, I've got a question. Why did you choose drugs?
We chose drugs because we believe that that's what we most have knowledge of. We believe that that's a big issue and a high demand topic.
What are your views on drugs?
My personal views on drugs is that it can be very harmful unless if there's control of it from doctors or anything else.
Have you been affected drugs by using them yourself or by a friend or family member who's used drugs?
I haven't, no.
Me personally, no.
Is this documentary balanced, biased? In what
It'll be
way?
a balanced documentary.
Why?
Because as there are pros and there are cons, we need to add up both of them to create one meaning so the audience can have their own perception of drugs.
Okay. Are the people you're going to interview going to create any of this balance for you, do
Yeah.
you think?
Some of them are going to agree with drugs, however,
Yeah.
some won't, so this will
Like
show
who?
the effect.
Police, we were thinking of interviewing the police so they can have they have a wide view on the topic as they probably experience loads of drug abuse.
Who's the target audience?
The target audience goes from 16-year-olds to 30-year-olds because they'll be interested in knowing more about drugs, which they might not have experienced because many of them might not have any knowledge of drugs.
Anyone else? Any other way of describing your target audience?
Men as well, because men and women as well, and lower class people because they might have low fundings and everything, so they might not know how to cope with drug abuse.
How do you know all of your interviewees will be telling the truth?
Well, from what we're going to tell them, that we can blur their face out and make them unknown. This will make them more likely to tell the truth because they won't be
Confident, they'll be confident. Everything will be said confidentially.
Okay. Okay. I just want to know about the schedule. Are you up to date with your schedule? Do you know when the deadline is? Do you know whether there are going to be any problems meeting that deadline?
So far, we're going smoothly. We haven't. We've got schedules soon coming up with another student and a police officer.
So you've got
Yes,
some
cool.
interviews scheduled, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know when the deadline is?
It's believed that our teacher hasn't told us that.
Ah, he has. It's on the blog. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much.